Hello, everybody. I hope y'all are having a great evening or morning, depending on where you are on this planet. Anyways, so let me continue where I left off. Like I said, I work for St. Vincent de Paul in Port Orchard on Bay Street. I started January 2006. And I think it had to have been like mid to late March of that year that there were some issues with my husband, Jay. Like I had said, him and the woman he originally cheated on me with, they moved in with his family to that house in Morton, Washington, which is Lewis County. And from what I know about the situation, this is what I was led to believe happened. Okay, so Jay's woman, she had two boys. They were both developmentally disabled, although her younger boy was worse than the older boy in the sense that he had epilepsy, so he would have a bunch of seizures, so he always needed to be supervised and he always needed to be wearing a helmet, right? Well, from what I hear, Jay was in the house, at that house, and messing around on his computer. I don't know where his girlfriend was or the rest of his family. I guess they weren't there, but it was him and the boy who's supposed to be wearing the helmet. Well, Jay was on his computer, which he was really good at. I mean, there were times like when him and I were together, I would ask him to get off the computer to help me with the kids because they were fighting or doing whatever, and it would take him about a half an hour just to get up off the computer and go and come help me with the kids when he's their dad too. You know what I mean? So he was pretty much making me be a single mom even when we were together. But anyways, so I guess he was messing around on the computer and that poor child fell down some stairs. And I feel like, well, somebody had said, like his family or whatever, they had said something about him and the girlfriend trying to hide the boy's injuries, but they were worse than they thought. So they ended up having to take him in to the hospital, to the ER, right? And when the doctors examined this child, they had stated that his injuries were consistent with physical abuse, right? So Jay starts tripping really bad. He's scared he's going to jail. And then all of a sudden, he's making, his girlfriend and her kids leave. And then guess what? He comes whining and crying and, came back to me, right? And me, like I said, being a jackass, for lack of a better word, decided to go ahead and take this dude back again. It's like, I just don't learn. Am I right? So this dude, Jay comes back and moves it back in to our house. And like I said, I was, happy. I had my little part-time job going on, and I was very excited about working retail and learning new skills and this and that. So he ends up moving back in with me. And then one day I'm working, and these people come into the store. This tall, bald, white gentleman and this white lady. And they come up to me, and long story short, they told me that Jay would need to move out of our house, because he's a danger to our children, because at that current moment, they thought that he had done something really bad on purpose to the little boy. Now, I was given a choice that I could either kick his behind out and they would be gone from my life and the kids' lives, or I could let him stay and the kids would be taken and put into CPS custody. Now, I know that seems like an easy decision. It's like, yeah, anybody else would be like, they'd kick him to the curb. They'd be like, bye, dude, see ya. But let me see if I can explain, as much as it isn't right, and I get that now, having grown and having gone through a lot. The way I had seen things back then, it was like, I don't want to raise kids by myself, because I had to deal with a mother who raised 6 kids on her own, and like I said, she was a horrible mother, very abusive, didn't even know the first thing about raising kids, even though she had 6 of them. And I was thinking, dang, I have these 2 kids, I don't want to end up like my mom raising them alone. So I thought that if I stuck by Jay's side, that it would be proven that he, hadn't done anything to this kid, and, we'd all be one happy family, which obviously we weren't, since he kept cheating on me and leaving me. I guess he just got scared or whatever and then came back. And even him, being a dude, didn't even have, the cojones to leave on his own. You would have thought that he would have been like, you know what, I don't want my kids in CPS custody. I'll, go ahead and leave. So that was, bad on both counts. A bad decision I made by letting him stay, and a bad decision he made by staying. That's just one of many things. Like I said, it's hard to freaking let that go and to forgive myself for it. You know what I mean? So, ended up having the kids taken away. They got put into CPS custody. And it took like a month or so while we were trying to, find out what CPS wanted us to do. It took like a month for them to get the kids get placed, somewhere else other than a foster home, which happened to be, guess what? His family, the ones living in that house in Morton, Washington, his brother and his sister-in-law decided they would take temporary custody of the kids while we jumped through all of CPS's hoops. Now, first and foremost, because my kids were not in my custody anymore, the program, my internship that I was doing through Kitsap Community Resources, working at St. Vincent de Paul, that ended up in jeopardy. They're like, you don't have the kids in your custody anymore. We can't, continue to keep you in this program. Now, thank the Lord God above that my boss decided that she would hire me on. After I got booted from the program, she hired me. So I started working part-time, and then after being there for a couple of weeks, she gave me a full-time position, which is a beautiful thing. I mean, she was so freaking patient with me, and she helped me out so much, because there were so many days of work I ended up having to miss, because I had to do, psychological evaluation, had to do a bunch of parenting classes, I believe anger management class. It was a bunch of things that I had to do, and so did he. He also had to do a domestic violence assessment and this and that, and I think the whole process of the kids being away and us fighting to get them back took like a total of 8, maybe 9 months. I feel like they got placed with my in-laws April of 2006. Let's see, okay, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. So January of 2007, we ended up getting them back. Long story short, Jay, well, it was proven that he didn't do anything to hurt that child. The only thing he was guilty of, according to the state, was he was negligent in the fact that he wasn't watching his child when he should have been. He was messing around the computer and not paying attention to what this child was doing. So we ended up getting the kids back in our custody, which was great. I mean, it was a long, arduous process. I'd love to tell you all about it, but it would just take way too freaking long to tell you all that. And when we got the kids back, the state told us that they would still be in our lives for the first 6 months just to make sure that we were, doing good as parents. And that they would, at the end of 6 months, if everything was going good, they would completely shut the case down. That would be it. We'd be out of the system. We'd be good to go. So a week before our case was supposed to close and CPS would have been out of our lives for good, Jay decided to leave me for a woman that he met on the internet. So when court came around, I ended up having to go into court alone. And guess what? The judge is like, well, now that you're a single mom, we're going to stay in your life. Well, CPS will stay in your life for another 6 months so we can see if you can be an effective single parent. And this is where stuff gets not so good. Okay, so there was a guy that I knew. He was a volunteer at St. Vinny's, right? Me being the ridiculous person, the bad decision maker that I've always been, decided I was going to hook up with him after, Jay had already moved out and moved in with this new woman, because this is a new woman now that he had met on the internet, right? So I started hooking up or hanging out with this dude that I worked with. He was a volunteer, and we'll call him M. Well, suffice it to say, things didn't go very well. I'm really going to have to think about what I'm going to say with this next video, so I'm going to stop here. And I'll continue telling you the rest of my story in the next video. Thank you all for watching. I really appreciate it. Excuse me. I appreciate it. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do, but only if you want to. I hope you all have a wonderful, safe evening. Thank you for watching. God bless you. And remember, don't give up. Bye.